Okay guys, welcome to the progressive butterfly series that we have working for you guys. Just like some of the other ones, I'll go over the key points here. It's really important that we understand the posture itself. If we don't know what a butterfly guard is supposed to look like, we're not going to make it effective for sure. So we need to know where our feet are, where our hands are, where our head is, where our hips are. So we're going to be going over that. So make sure you understand the posture. Once you get the posture, next thing that I'd like to see you guys working on is the transitions, how to get in to butterfly guard and how to move from butterfly guard to somewhere else. This is really important. This is essentially your footwork, right? So you don't see too many fighters doing well in MMA or Muay Thai or anywhere else that don't have good footwork. Guys that don't have good footwork are sitting ducks. So we need to be able to transition and out. Maybe you're going to use butterfly guard as a way to keep it dynamic and move it around. It's great for no-gi and it's great for gi. Maybe it's going to be a guard that you just utilize to switch to another guard. So it's a nice effective guard to keep the ball rolling. Next thing that we're going to be looking at is stand up. And I know for a lot of people, standing up is not a really thing that you guys are a big fan of. Jiu-jitsu guys love to be on the ground because it doesn't, it hurts, but in a different way. It doesn't hurt like getting thrown onto your back. But keep in mind, depending on who I'm with, I will try to stand up a fair amount. And it's not because I want to stand up and do judo. It's because I want to stand up and keep them on the ground. I'm going to try and take their back. I'm going to try and pass the guard. So I don't want to be underneath them. If it's a big guy, I'd rather try, if I can, stand up because I don't want to risk the opportunity that he might pass my guard and get me inside mount and crush me. So I got a big guy, Corey. He's like 290 pounds. I'm 210. That's a fair amount of a difference for me. I don't want to be underneath him in side mount because it's just not pleasant, or mount. So I'd rather work to stand up and be very selective with the takedowns I'm going to do and stand up, not to let him get on top of me. So usually if I have an opportunity to stand up with Corey, I'll take it. But that being said, a lot of the moves that we're going to see today that I use a lot on the variety of size types. So standing up is important, not just for self-defense, but to start the ball rolling on the big guys, whether to take their back, to pass their guard, or just the process of standing up and then shooting. Try not to let them stand up though. Next thing that we're looking for is sweeping. So if I can't stand up because they're doing a good job stopping me from standing up, that likely means there's some pressure coming in on top of me. And if there's pressure coming in on top of me, butterfly guard's made for that. So it's great for redirecting that energy. We can use our feet and our shins and our arms to just pass and move them around. So butterfly guard, it's great for redirecting people's weight. If you're trying to stand up and they're collapsing on top of you, it's very easy to start getting these sweeps. So sweeping, great. You want to improve that position if you can't stand up. Well, you can't stand up. Maybe you're having a hard time sweeping. Back take is the next thing we're looking for. So if we can't get on top, let's improve our position. Maybe I can spin him, get his back. So I might be still underneath him or beside him, but at least I'm in a better position. I'm behind him. Harder for him for self-defense to do damage to me, and for sport, obviously you got your points and you got a lot more things you can do to him than he can do to you. Submissions is the last thing that we're going to show, and it's not because it's the least important, but ideally in a self-defense thing, we want to get away clean. If there is an opportunity for submission, of course you're going to take it, but we want to get safe. So standing up, getting away is safe. Getting on top is pretty safe. Getting behind is pretty safe. Okay, well, we can't do those things. Maybe the submission is the only thing we have left. Or maybe for self-defense situation, I don't want to get away because the guy's in my house and my family's there. So I need to look at submissions that will end the fight right now. Of course, for tournaments, we want the finish. The submissions work great. I'm going to show a few different ones. But keep in mind, this is very much... it's like sparring or kickboxing. It's all combinations. If I want to try and hit you with a kick, it's best to start setting it up with footwork or with some punches. So submissions on its own can be very challenging. Sweeps on its own are challenging. Back takes on its own is challenging. Standing up on its own is challenging. But if you're going to start finding, hey, I like this move for standing up, I like this move for sweeping, I like this move for back taking, I like these couple moves for submissions, you start finding ways to piece these together. You're basically building an obstacle course that you're going to run over and over and over and over again, but your opponent's only going to have a chance to go through it once, right? And they usually don't make it to the end. So try to find one or two moves in each of these things, these categories that you like, and find ways to transition and piece them all together. You're going to find a pretty unstoppable game. So enjoy. Okay guys, so before we can get started with the butterfly guard, we have to know on what is the butterfly guard. So I have Ozzy with me here. When I use my butterfly guard, I want my feet hooked inside his legs, and I want to make sure there's some tension. So I don't want my feet pointed this way. I want to pull my toes out so I have my hooks here. Now, when I have my hooks, I want some pressure going outwards. I don't want to be too lazy because his job is to try and either get my feet together or keep them on the floor. So if he can do that, that's going to be a bit of a problem, right? So I need some tension here. If my butt's too close, I'm going to get squished and dumped back. I don't want to be on my back. I want to be sitting up. So I want a little bit of space. Hands ideally are underneath. And if I can bear hug, great. If I can't, that's fine as long as I have these underhooks. And my head, my forehead right here, is going to be underneath his neck in the pocket. It might be in the center, but it's likely going to be onto his side. So this is the position I'm looking for. I should be kind of round, and it should be almost like a ball. It should be fairly easy for me to roll around. Some people will play it off to the side, and that's a really, really good idea. It's like having your guard, getting your hip out, you're a lot more offensive, but you are a little bit more committed to one side. Some people really like to sweep this way, so they like to play to this side of it. So, and we'll get into that a little bit later. So we need tension, we need proper spacing with our hips, okay, so that we can keep our head in front of our hips, not head over my hips, okay? I would like to have underhooks if I can, possibly an overhook, but underhooks will be much better. And head, I want my head underneath his head. So anywhere in here is going to be good, right? That's the first part. Okay, so now that we have an idea of what makes up a butterfly guard, we have to be able to get there because otherwise it's kind of useless. So first thing I was mentioning, you have your butterfly guard, but you want to stay seated. If you end up flat on your back, this is going to wear you down a bit. This is tiring. Ozzy's going to be able to start working his defenses, which should be pinning my feet together and trying to get him on the floor. So this is a bit of a problem. I want to get my hands underneath his elbow or shoulders. If I can't get all of my hand, that's fine. I'll just use the first knuckle of my thumb, or maybe that's the second knuckle of the thumb, to get underneath. I'm going to pull with my knees and my hands to lift his weight forward. I'm going to kick away to sit him up. Okay? Now, sometimes you get guys that are very tight with their elbows, so you can't move your hips very well, and their head is here, so it's hard to get the underhook, and it's hard to sit up. Okay, and you don't really want to do this, because then he's going to grab your legs, and he's going to run around. Okay, he's going to pass the guard, so that's a problem. So we need to kind of wreck his posture a little bit. So I'm going to push his head to one side, and then push his head to the other side to get a hand in. And then I just move my hip a little bit. So I'm going to go here, up. Now, it has to be relatively fast, okay? Can't do it too slow, but sometimes if they have a weak grip or a weak head posture, just a little shrimp, and you can keep it here is enough. Remember, I still have tension in my shins and my feet. Hand comes in, maybe just a knuckle, pull forward, and I kick back, and I can start working my grips right away. So if I'm flattened out, that's going to be the easiest way to get on top. Now, or get to my position, sorry. Maybe I have a closed guard, and I might want to work to my butterfly guard. I want to try and get my feet inside Ozzy's, so I have my grapevines, straighten his legs out, and then I have to quickly get my hooks in. Now, this doesn't help me because I'm flat, right? So underhooks, pull forward, and then sit up. So again, closed guard, give it a little pull, get your feet inside, straighten out his legs, whoop, flick them up, and kick away. One more time. Pull them forward to get your hooks in, straighten them out, feet come in, or straighten them out, and you can lift a little bit to give you some time. I already got my underhooks, which is nice. Pull forward, and out. Otherwise, just like before. If Ozzy has a half guard or a half mount, okay, I want to try and get my frame in, shrimp to get my knee in. My foot right here is already in that butterfly position, so it's easy just to push it in, push with my shin to get my other leg in, and now same thing, underhooks and kick away. Up off the other side. Okay, create my frame, shrimp, knee in. Well, it's easy. I can get my other leg in, create my frame, up, whoop, and kick away. If Ozzy has side mount, same deal. I need to have my postures beforehand so I can get my frames. Bridge, shrimp, leg comes in, push, get my foot in, drop my other foot in, same as before, lift and kick away. So nothing's really changing too much. You'll see that idea of pulling forward and kicking away to sit up is pretty important. And then from mount, hands on the hips, bridge, shrimp, here, whoop, already in. So when he has that mount position, I don't want to bridge straight up. I need to bridge at an angle, get my both knees in, my feet are in that guard. He's probably going to come back into me, which is great. Loads his hips high, and then kicks them away. Sometimes you've seen the drill in class, I hope you have, where you do this little kick away, scoot in, kick away, scoot in. That's what we're practicing, this idea from going from flat on my back to a seated upright position. So you'll see a lot of those ways of getting into that butterfly guard. Sometimes your feet drop in, but most likely you're escaping from another position and you're gonna be flat on your back. So you have to pull forward and then kick back to create that seated posture, okay? So now you might want to leave the butterfly guard position. Maybe it's not working out for you because your partner's got a good base or they understand what it is that you're doing and it's stifling your game. So that happens. You'll see a lot for white belts. They start shrimping from mount. They get a hook in and they get caught with a guard with one hook in, and then they'll try to shrimp to get that guard back or get their closed guard. So essentially they're freeing their foot because they don't see the value of this. And then they'll try to work to get their hooks back in sometimes. So we'll say for argument's sake that you want to get out of butterfly guard, or maybe you want to use it as a transition to another kind of a guard. So if you're here and you're having a hard time, maybe he's really good at smothering you, you want to try and, again, pull your knees forward. That brings his hips higher. Pop them up and then just wiggle to go for your closed guard. It's going to be a little quick little shimmy. Just got to make sure you get your legs on the outside of his legs. So don't pop them up and then go right straight back to the same position. To pop them up and get your legs around, okay? So some people like to do that, that's fine. Maybe I want to go to half guard because I like my half guard better. Same thing, I want to pop, oh, I got my underhooks too, which is going to be kind of a key thing, but not super duper important, but kind of sort of important, especially on half guard. I'm going to go this leg or out to this side. So this hand really needs to have that underhook. And when I pop him forward, I'm going underneath his leg. So this would be like a deep, deep half guard. We're almost going to his back, right? So if I don't have that underhook, he's gonna squash me a bit. Off the other side, same thing, nice. Underhooks are gonna help. And you know, Ozzy's not gonna want this, but he doesn't want to give up keeping me flat, so he might be content with this. Otherwise, you know, I'm working to this position and work into my half guard. If I'm going to go to that half guard, it's best to go as deep as you can. Get your head underneath his hips. One of the challenges you see people have is I go for that half guard and then get this. Well, it's not great. His head's underneath my head. He's gonna start to pass. Even with the underhook, he's gonna make it difficult for me. If I can get underneath him, that's gonna make a big difference. Some people like going to X guard, which is probably my favorite one, favorite transition. So just turn a little bit here for this one. From here, I'll kick one leg straight, rock down, up, and then turn to my X guard position. This is definitely my most common entrance to X guard. We'll do it off this side too so you can see the other side, because of course I only do one side because it works so well. When I'm here, I'll go hand to the floor. I have my underhook. I kick this leg straight. I want my knee behind his leg to try and lift it a little bit. Now, I hide my head, I dive my hand under to load him up, and then I kick him away to get this foot inside. This hand's gonna grab his knee, and this leg is by my head. Now this foot is behind his knee. So then I can work my X guard if that's something you like to do as your X guard. One more time. We'll go facing this way. Okay. Really fun guard. So if you maybe not a fan of your butterfly guard or your partner knows what's going on, the nice thing about butterfly guard is it's really easy to keep your partner off balance and move them around. Sometimes you get some heavy guys and it's can be awkward to get that momentum going. Butterfly guard's good to shifting that weight. Once that weight shifts, the knees start to open up and gives you more freedom to go to some of the other guards that you might like a little bit more. Okay, so the next section is standing up. And this is, I believe, a highly underutilized skill development that a lot of people don't use for a variety of reasons, and I mentioned it earlier. We're just gonna focus on two, backwards and forwards. So I have Aussie in my butterfly guard, and it's a good butterfly guard, right? I got my postures and everything. I may need to get the ball rolling a little bit, okay? So I have my head in, I'm going to hold him and then push him away to stand up, okay? So I'm getting the momentum going. I'm gonna throw him backwards and then back out, stand up. Now, I might not wanna stand up because I'm worried about getting taken down, okay? So what you can do, you have your position, you pull in, you kick out, and you go up, you start to drive and cut through, okay? So you can get right through that knee. So again, sometimes you get a big guy that's good at just hunkering down, okay? Try to pull forward, kick him back. Once you're here, get the arm, drive with your head, and cut with your knee right through to his guard. Go a little bit faster on this one. Need more space. Okay, so here, right through. The other one is a frame. Maybe the guy's got a really good posture and he's sitting there, so he's hunkering down. This typically gets to be some of the big guys. So you can go here, or if you have the gi, almost like a massa pole, and safety stand up. Again, you can drive through, or you saw it, he wants to grab that leg, he goes to grab that leg. You can sprawl, break his grip, and come around to his back. So both of these are useful. So it's the idea of I'm standing, but not necessarily to stand to let him stand. I'm standing to give an opportunity to pass his guard to take his back. So on that last one again, maybe he's working his hands, his underhooks inside. There, I have a frame on the shoulder this time, hand to the floor, toes back out. Maybe I'm out for a knee for self-defense, or if he starts to chase me, which a lot of guys do, can sprawl and start working to take the back. Or if he stays in that kind of position here, you might be able to knock him backwards. Most times, if you get away, they'll fill that void, okay? So which gives you an opportunity to push their head down and take their back. If you knock them backwards, they'll extend their base, which gives you an opportunity to send their weight backwards over their heel, so you can pass that guard, okay? So, which I know it's not really a guard, they're on the knees, but you get what the idea is. You're passing the ability for them to get a guard. Okay, so next we have sweeps, and this is where it gets really fun. There's a lot of sweeps. I cannot get through all of them, but I'm just showing you a variety of a couple. Hopefully you find one that you like. Different body types will work a little bit better for some sweeps, and depends on who your partner is, okay? What I have seen is butterfly is a pretty versatile guard, so you can use it for the transitions and maybe hit a guard that you like better, but there's a lot of really good sweeps in butterfly guard for you. So we're gonna start with the classic butterfly sweep, and you're starting in your posture again. If Ozzy doesn't like these underhooks, he's gonna weave his hand in. And this is a problem. His hand will start to come in, his head will start to come in, and then he's gonna start to drive me flat, and I have to work again from there to back to here. So once I recognize Ozzy's going on this side, I put that hand on the floor and I give a little scoot up to the side. So now my knee is in front of his knee instead of being up here. So this helps make my sweep a little bit tighter. I'm gonna grab onto his elbow, and where my knee is, right here on the mat, I want my shoulder to go right here. So I'm going to roll to the side, up, and then sweep. I can go to mount, I can go to katakesi tatami, it's kind of your choice. Most people will go to a katakesi tatami position because it's a little bit easier to follow through than the mount for this particular sweep. So again, you have your position, he's working that underhook, that's fine. One thing to watch out for, several things to watch out for. Try to avoid going straight back and then trying to sweep. Guys that are good at their base will either widen their base, or if you do this, they'll actually pass your guard. They'll see it coming. There's a really, really cool guard pass that you should ask me about sometime. Works really, really well. So try not to fall straight back. This is extending myself. So this is a bit of a challenge. So when we do that little drill where we pull the knees in, we sit back, scoot in, this angle is always very, very small. I never want to be stretched out. That's a problem. I'm going to work my abs. I'm going to get tired. So when you fall backwards, you're really helping him out. Even though you have underhooks, you're helping him out. And this idea of sweeping him sideways doesn't work very well. Another thing is I mentioned, make sure you put your shoulder on the floor. So some guys get their angle out very well, but when they go to sweep, they fall back. Again, I'm opening up that angle between my knee and my shoulder is really, really big. I'm stretching out too much of Ozzy's weight. So when I have that grip, I want my shoulder on the floor as close to the knee as I can. I'm going to turn a little bit. I want to get some extension, so I'm going to go here. Sometimes this foot will go through to make the sweep a little bit tighter. So as I go to sweep, there, it'll go through my leg, and I lift this leg up. So I don't need Ozzy for this part just yet. As I go, I'm going to go through, and I kick onto my toes. So my toes are on the floor. If my toes are on the floor, I can lift my leg much higher. If I put my knee on the floor, there's only so much height I can get. But as soon as I go to my toes, there, I gain an extra foot of stretching them out. So that's one's a really, really important one, is getting the toes on the floor and hitting that angle to the side. So try not to load them up on top of you. Try to make it a little ball where you can roll them sideways. Now, although it works a lot, that sweep is really, really good. A lot of people start to stifle it by just hunkering down and sitting. So I'm with Ozzy, and he's sitting back. I'm having a hard time pulling forward. He's expecting that sweep because probably he's smart and he feels that tension. So this is a good thing to take advantage of. If I'm pulling, just to knock him backwards. Now, we have to be a little careful of his ankles and their knees. That might hurt, this idea of going back. So we're going to try and drive a little bit of angle off to the side. And it's a little bit of a feeling, but a lot of pulling. It's called like a backbreaker. So when you're in and you're pulling, okay, I'm going to pull back and drive my head into his shoulder. And you see my foot's already going through underneath me. To drive through. And now I'm just turning Ozzy so I don't have to go over his ankle. So the motion here is I have this, I'm pulling, he's hunking back or hunkering down, hunching back. As I pull, if I can get my hands together, great, but I want to push my head in and foot comes in underneath. And then I'll try to turn him. I have big feet. Sometimes they're so big, it stops that range of motion and it jams them up so they can't follow the pass through. The times they go at the angle works much better. Usually, I don't do it on purpose. It hurts my back and I'm trying to stay there, but I'm long, so it defends it a little bit. If they go at an angle, it works a little bit better. So we have a couple guys in the club that are really good at doing this one, but when they do it to me, they cut angles off to the side, okay? So, one more time. I'm pulling the, there you go. Now, you can see I definitely favor one side, and for the reason why is I have an injury on this knee, so following up on this side is unpleasant for me right now. I'm still working through it. But going on this side is easier. So the side you go to might be depending on what's going on with your body right now. Okay, next one is going to be a little bit of crisscross action. The first one was a spin. Next one I dump them back. Now I'm going to kick them backwards at a 45-degree angle. So I don't want to go straight back. I want to go backwards this way. So I have my underhooks. I pull Ozzy, or maybe I'm even here and I'm flat. I pull Ozzy up and I drive back this way. And now I keep my hooks in. He's grabbing my head. He doesn't want him to get me up, so he's going to try and drive into me. And I can use this to sweep him back. So I am relying on his body weight, okay? Collapsing me. And I'm going to give him a little bit more of a reason why right now. He might not want to drive in, or he might not be so fixated on driving in, but I'm actually going to put a lot of pressure on his elbow here now. So when I have it, or here, because I usually end up getting it from here anyways, kick forward, kick out, and then hand comes up for that reverse arm bar. Now, he might tap, but one of the things he wants to do is turn his arm and turn in, right? So he's protecting his elbow. So he's trying to drive in, protect it, up, sweep, and then maybe you get your Americana, or at least you got your mount. I like this one a lot. I love my reverse armbar, and I'm gonna get more details about it in a moment for you guys. But this one works really well, this crisscross action. So I'm going this way, I'm gonna end up sweeping him over here. So it's a little bit of a curve, but it is relying on the fact that he's turning his arm. So we have to be kind of firm with the pressure. So here, back, I shut that arm up, slide back. Oh, he's defending now. Oh, now I'm gonna go to this one because his elbow slipped out. Hand to the armpit, and I scoop underneath him. Bring my knees in, and sweep them up. Oh, and now it's gonna be an armbar, just the way I landed. So I didn't really get into that. It's like kind of a bonus one I didn't mean to show, but if you're ever able to drag this arm, or I'm going for that reverse armbar and he collapses his arm, pull it through, grab my elbows on the floor so I can scoot in. As I scoot in, my knees come in and up to load him up. Maybe I take his back, or maybe I throw him over. Okay, so that's gonna be a little bit on you. Granted, like, I know there's a lot of information in here. You're just gonna find at least one thing you like, and probably a few more. And there's a lot of stuff out there. Moving on, there's still more. There's a really, really cool Chimera sweep. So you get this position here. If I want to grab Aussie, I'm gonna push Aussie, because now he's gonna want to extend his arms to try and hold on. And I'm gonna get my grip on his sleeve. Okay, just gonna roll it up. Now you can go here, or you can go cross-side. I prefer cross-side, but it really depends on you, what you like. Okay, I'm gonna grab underneath, foot on the hip, I'm gonna bend his arm, and I'm gonna roll underneath Aussie. There we go. Now I have a nice Chimera. All I have to do to finish the Chimera is push his hand down, keep the grip. I'm keeping this grip, pushing the hand down, and I just put my weight on Aussie. Okay, so this is a Chimera, but it's also a sweep. You can do it from standing too, by the way. Some of the guys in the club are really, they like the idea of this stand-up sweep. So it's the exact same thing, but just standing. You have your grip, you go underneath, foot on the hip, and I need his arm bent a bit. So that's why I'm lifting this elbow up high. Push, kick the leg through, and I punch the hand as I dive. I follow the path of my hand with my head underneath. There you go, and on top. You can make it an arm bar, but it's probably gonna be a Chimera. Okay? So it's a fun one to play with. Catches guys off in the club. One of the reasons why is when you start rolling, you get this thing a lot, and you just kind of play from here. So Aussie might not pick up on the idea like, holy cow, I got a really good start on my butterfly guard. And then you just get this hand fighting. Maybe I pull in this hand and he pushes with this hand to break this grip. Yeah, thank you, that's what I wanted. So, there you go. It does take up a little room, gotta make sure we don't hit the camera. So, and that's why I'm looking around a bit. One more sweep of many. Okay, don't have time for lots. Double sleeves. If you have one sleeve, great. If he's pulling away from one sleeve and he's pulling away, you can always do this and cut through, right? So if I can't get my grips, maybe I can change the position I'm in. Both sleeves. This one's not too bad to get, but it's easier to start seated than on your back. So this is a fun one, and here you go. Okay, the balloon, the butterfly balloon. It is, you can do it slow, but you don't need to. It's definitely more fun to do it fast. I have my grips. I have space with my butt to my feet. I scoot in and I pull forward. As I pull, I bring my knees in to lift Aussie up. And once I get here, I drop one hand down to my hip. And then, whoa. It's actually pretty easy for Aussie for falling. As long as he accepts the idea that he's rolling, he should shoulder roll with it and not land on his face. It's a fun sweep. I haven't done it for a little while just because honestly I forgot about it. Doing some rolling today, hit it 3 times in 5 minutes. It's a great, easy sweep to do. And the guy rolling was a good guy. It's just, it's one you don't see very often. So it's easy to catch them unaware and then, build your confidence and build it up a few times. So this grip, they might try to push on your shoulders because they don't think about this. There, thank you. Up, whoop, this time, this way, all the way to mount. Try to keep your hooks if you can. Watch you don't get caught in a half guard, okay? Try to keep your hooks and then drop to mount once you're ready to bring your hooks out. So one more time from this angle here. Whoop! And then Aussie almost rolled over the wrong side of his head on that one. So that's where we have to be careful with our training partners. We don't want them to get kind of messed up and post with your head. So be mindful, be careful about it. Keep in mind, I'm also bringing the hand around. I'm not punching straight down. I'm doing this, and you'll see this position a lot in jiu-jitsu. One of them, if I broom sweep Aussie, good, you just stand up. Boom, and he goes backwards. And he sits up to block me. And I spin, and I bring my knee in, freeze. I grab his foot. I don't pull his foot this way. I bring his foot around to roll him, okay? So you'll see this idea a couple times in jiu-jitsu. It's easier to move the person around than it is to lift, okay? So it's a good little thing to think about. Okay guys, back kicks. So butterfly guard is really great for sweeps. Has some pretty neat submissions in there. It's pretty easy to get in and out of. And now we just want to work on taking the back from it. So taking the back, you already saw a couple, okay? You can drag this arm, pull it across, grab the armpit, scoop underneath. If my elbow's not on the floor like before, I'm here. I pull him up, then I just turn Aussie to flip them around, okay? The flip is pretty fun. I used to like this one a lot. If you're having trouble getting the back grip, you can go sleeve and elbow. Try not to go this way. This way, I've seen this with Marcelo Garcia as my reference for it. It's really, really fun. I used to do this a lot. I'd push into the guys and they try to find their balance and then pull them up and spin. Hands already working in. Other hand clears the leg to put my hook in, hand comes up. So I'm already looking for the choke once I get there. Okay. So this idea of spinning them with that arm is a lot of fun. Again, it's pretty easy because you start with this pushing here and I grab his, or maybe I get this side, which is common. I like that one a lot. So then guys will try to break this grip by push, pull. Thank you. There you go. If, and this happens, you lose a hook, don't worry, you're fine. Your hook is not what really keeps it tight. It's squeezing the knees and then pulling here. So I can always pull them back to get that hook in, but especially this hand is what's stopping him from turning away. Because if Aussie tries to roll, I have this to stop him. This hand's gonna stop him from rolling, and this hook. If he tries to spin and put his back on the floor, I'm choking him. So I'm not too worried if I miss the hook, but I should have a collar, okay? If I don't have the collar, then I'm gonna try and scoop underneath him and fix it up a little bit. But you can keep him in that position where you just kind of triangle your legs. And the other one where you drag that arm across, and get his armpit, scoop underneath, up, and now I'm gonna drop my right hook, and then he starts to turn, and then the right hook comes back in. So it's kind of much a lot like the helicopter armbar. You lift the guy up, and when you start pulling, you pull out one foot, he'll start to drop into the void, and you replace the leg over his head. Same thing here. When I scoop him up on both of these, I'm lifting him in the air, I drop this hook, and he'll rotate inside the void, and then I just put my hook back in. So it's really, really fun sweep. Got super high percentage. I guess mistakes to look out for is guys start being really hypersensitive about this pulling motion, so they really hunker down and sit back. They'll try to sit back, yeah. They'll then just push off this way. Okay, so yeah, it's when guys start to sit and be too static in a position, it's hard to move them around. But think of it like a playground. Playgrounds are bolted into the ground really strong, so you don't swing around when you're on them. So if Aussie's a really big guy, or he's really, really got a great base, and I can't move him, I can move myself around him, okay? So I can take advantage of his strength by using it like a playground and just swinging around it, okay? I wouldn't want to play on a playground that wasn't bolted in, because it would fly all over the place and it's gonna land on me, right? So if I find that he's loose, I'm gonna flip him or throw him to the side. If he's strong, I'm gonna look to push away and stand up. So that's great if you can get this arm and the elbow or the arm in the back. If you like arm drags, same thing. I'm pushing. I want to try and keep my hands inside Aussie's arms, so then I can get this arm drag here. When I get to the back, knee comes out to get that hook in. Got a few guys in the club that love arm drags from standing, from the guard position. It's a really, really good one. I tend to favor sweeping things, but arm drags are great. You're inside, and then just get this hook. Armpit or the elbow, and just make sure you don't arm bar on the way by. So pass. As you pass, try to pull that leg out so you can get on top. Widen his base, and get your hooks in. Okay. We'll go a little faster here. Okay. Push in. Of course, flatten them out, but we're being a little nice for the demos. Okay, so you have your arm drag. You have your arm, I don't arm drag off this side. This is my pulling side. This is my dragging side. So I'm fine with both. You know, if you want to really work both sides, it's great. But I like having one side here, and if he tries to push on my hand to break this grip, then you have an arm drag side. So it's however you want to work it is the way you're going to work it. Next is lifting and spinning. Kind of same thing. Sometimes you get stuck down here. Now, ideally, try to sit up to that position, but sometimes you get those hooks in, pull forward, lift them up, then drop underneath to take his back. I'm gonna look underneath my arm. Okay, I'm gonna lift my arm up this way. If I'm starting up here, it's the same thing. I pull back. Once I pull back, I'm trying to hook his armpits. Pull back, lift. There. See, my hook came out. My arm's underneath my head. And climb around to the back. Or even get this triangle on the legs is fine too. And you start working from here. Usually I go off this side, but I'll do the other side for details. Just turn this way a little bit. Okay, from here. Then around to the side. If that hook doesn't come in, try to get it in. But if you have to get squeezed behind, that's fine. This is okay, but there's no choke here. This is just to slow him down a little bit to get this hook in. And then maybe I want to fix up my grip afterwards. Okay, so the idea of going underneath your arm, it's a really, really good one. It gets their weight forward and up high. So all those ones that we're working on are pretty much dropping out a hook, replacing a hook. I'm here, pull them up as I go underneath, dropping out the hook and replace the hook. So keep that in mind. Taking the back off the butterfly guard makes everything else that much more dangerous because now you're threatening them with sweeps. You're threatening them with the ability to stand up and get away or escape if you need to. And you're threatening them with a back take now, and it's going to lead into submissions next. Okay guys, so submissions. Definitely the most fun, the part everybody wants to do is the submissions. So we got a bunch to do. Starting with some that you already saw, so reverse armbar is first. I like this one. A little more details though. Pull back, kick out here, and there's my armbar. I need to be fairly strong with my position. You saw what happens if his arm bends and comes out, and that might happen. You're looking to take the back, you're looking to get out, okay? Depends on where his pressure is or maybe sweeping him. Well, we're gonna change the angle slightly. Right here's good. When I pull Ozzy down, I have this underhook, or maybe I'm down already. I pull him forward, I kick him at 45 degrees, and my elbow lifts. And what I'm trying to do is catch his elbow with my elbow. So here, once I find his elbow, I bring it in. This knee has to be strong, and my hook on this foot is hooked onto his leg. It's not dropping to the floor. So my shin is driving into Ozzy. So I'm pushing like this. I'm pushing him away. I'm shrugging my shoulders so it's a little tighter. So I'm stretching out that arm, and then I'm pulling in on the elbow. Okay. You can go two hands on. I know Master Behring's great at this idea of anytime someone grabs your head, roll around and get that. And that's a nice armbar. We have some guys in the club. Actually, we have one guy in the club who's really good at reverse armbarring everybody from everywhere. John Haddock. But I do like this one in particular. I don't really use the hands the way Master Behring likes. I do like that idea. It's just habits for me to use this forearm on my wrist. So from here, pop them forward. Oh, put that elbow up, and I just like this feeling. This is fine, but it does stop him from rotating. Ozzy, can you bend your arm, bend your elbow, twist your arm? This is much harder. Ozzy, bend your arm. Yeah, this will start to slip out. So that's one thing, a great advantage of this grip is it's really hard for him to turn out of it, okay? A little harder to get the grip, but much, much tighter. Now, next, the gi Kimura. Here and here. I mentioned I like to go this way, but you can go this side. The one reason I like this, I'm not a fan of this side as much, is when you spin and rotate underneath, I don't quite have that same pressure on the shoulder or on his chest. Whereas if I can keep this pressure through, this is nice. I feel like I have feels like I'm going knee on chest, but with my forearm. really crushing that weight into Aussie. So there's not really any other details that I didn't mention earlier with the sweep. Just getting that grip and punching through to here. Okay, I want to lift this elbow higher than his wrist. So if he starts doing this, dropping his elbow in, well, that's a bit of a problem. But that he drops that elbow in, that's a bit of a problem. But we're always can go back to what we did before, right? He's bringing that elbow in. It's just like this grip that we did at the back take. So just because he's slowing you down in one spot doesn't mean he stopped what you're doing. Okay, just close one door, open another door. So here, stretch him out. Pass this leg underneath, dive with your head over top, and then on top. I like this one. Aussie tried to roll away, try to turn in, try to do whatever. This is, yeah, and that's why my weight's on top of him, so he can't turn in. So this is an easy position to control someone from. So definitely one of my more favorites. Now, some of the other things that you can do from here, and we're gonna get a little bit more dynamic with some of them. Cross choke, of course. You have your choke. You have your choke. There's a concern that he might push my legs down past, so I have to be careful about that. One of the chokes I really like is loop choke. And because it's not very threatening. So if I go cross choke, it's really deep. And Aussie's gonna be very aware of it. And if he can clear my legs, that's definitely gonna be a problem. So he might really focus on pinning my feet or my knees to the floor, get over my knees, not great. But if I grab here, just on his collarbone, so I take my trigger finger, and I put it right above his collarbone, right there. He knows where it is right now because it freaking hurts. Okay, so I put that in that, just in that pocket right there. So anytime I can do this, I don't do it, it's just a marker for me. Now, I'm gonna push Aussie, and then if he starts, anytime his head goes down, my arm goes underneath. Other arm goes over, and hand goes underneath my elbow. I'm gonna turn my side and put my leg over and start to tighten up the choke. Loop choke is great. A lot of guys like to pass their head down, especially wrestlers like to keep their head down, and I'm bad for it too. I always get like this part of my nose cut open because when I'm passing guards, I'm always leading with my forehead and my nose, and it just gets worn out. So occasionally I get caught in this one too if I'm not too mindful about what's going on. So I'm here, I pull his head down, or his head is already down, pull it down, and I go underneath this arm. My wrist is like this, okay? So on one side I have the lapel, and on the other side, we'll just do a 180 here. The other side is my wrist. Okay? I pass my arm underneath my elbow, so it's like I'm folding my arms. And I turn to my side to kick the leg over top. And then all I do to tighten is this. This and this. Now, a couple of things of why. If I grab too deep, one, he's going to be thinking cross choke or choke in general. But when I go for this loop choke, it puts my forearm across his throat, which might not seem like a terribly bad idea because it does hurt him, but I'm not going to be able to loop my arm together. I'm going to get stuck here with my fingers, and it's painful on my wrist. It'll start to bend my wrist. So if I go a little lower, I can get my wrist on the other side. The other thing is, if I go lower, the collarbone, when I bring the gi across, it'll line up so the gi is on one side and my forearm on the other side, or my wrist on the other side, not on front of the trachea. So it's a much nicer choke for Aussie, which is a good thing. I want him to have a nice choke because I don't want Aussie to tap to chokes at all. I want Aussie to go to sleep. If I put my forearm on his throat, it hurts. He doesn't want that. He's going to tap. If I put my forearm on the carotid artery, he still wants to fight. I want him to fight because my goal isn't for him to tap. My goal is for him to think he has a chance to keep doing what he wants. If he keeps believing he's doing the right thing, there's a better chance I'll put him to sleep. Okay? So when I go around here, this is great. The problem is Aussie can take this hand and push my elbow down, and take the other hand and push my elbow up, and he'll duck his head out. So now I'm out of the choke, or he's out of the choke. He unwound it. So if I fall to my side, it cuts this elbow down, and it frees up this leg to go over his leg, or over his arm. So now he can't pull my elbow down. So I'll change the angle to the other side so you can see. Now this choke does work fine from closed guard, but it works really nice in butterfly guard because you can keep the range you need. So here, down, under, leg over, and there's my choke. He can't, it's difficult for him to push my elbow up, but he can put his hand on my elbow on this side and put your hand there and walk backwards, So you have to watch out a little bit for that. Don't let him slip out of it, okay? Moving right on to the next loop choke is a diving loop choke. Same grip. I like this one on guys that hunker down. They sit back, so the big heavy guys, they're here. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna use this as a frame to stand up and get away. And Ozzy tries to go in. I pull his head down, which will lift his chin a bit, because it's hard for him to chase in and keep his chin tucked at the same time. So his head will be exposed. I loop that arm underneath, and I dive and grab his far elbow on this side and finish my choke. If he rolls, I roll with him, and I roll with him until I tighten it up. It's easier to finish this one on the bottom than it is on the top. Okay, so if I can be underneath him, it's gonna be a little easier. So I'm gonna move over here so we have some more room. I have my grip. I'm trying to pull. He's not leaning back. He's leaning back. I'm gonna drive him backwards. Okay, I love doing that. Give a little, you're playing with someone, you give a little pull, they lean back, and you just cut through. Okay, so be mindful. It's a great dynamic guard. So I'm here. I start to back out. He starts to try and chase me. Right, dive underneath. Dive underneath. Dive underneath. Okay, I hold the elbow to stop his rotation. If I let go of the elbow, he can spin away from me. Okay. We have some guys in the club, Rob Trotter, that are awesome at loop chokes. So if you want more information about them, definitely go talk to those, to Rob. He's great. Talk to John Hannock about the reverse arm bars. These are guys that kind of saw a move that they believe and they made work for themselves, and they busted off a lot. Okay, so if you're not careful, you're con them. Loop choke, probably the most high, loop choke and reverse arm bars. Definitely for myself, those are the ones I believe in the most. I don't expand my game too much beyond those because I'm very versatile with those two. If it doesn't work, I'm taking the back or I'm standing up. So the loop choke and the reverse arm bars are the ones that I invested in personally. I'm going to show you a couple other ones. We're going to turn this way just a little bit here. A couple people have been working a lot on this choke lately. It's the Hadig. I'll put it below. I'll put something on there so you can get the name to check this guy out. But he's getting this choke a lot from people. So it's a baseball choke grip. He's putting his leg across and he's spinning underneath. Okay. To finish this choke. It's a nice choke. You can do it from a lot of positions. Closed guard, half guard, butterfly guard. It's a fun choke. It's challenging to stop if you're not aware of what's going on, or if you're a little slow to react. It can be very slow to get out of. And the grips aren't terribly too hard to get, because this grip, Ozzy doesn't care too much. And this one, not as much either. He's concerned, but not so bad. When I put this shin across, it allows me to spin underneath him here. And all I have to do is bring my elbows out to finish the choke, okay? Sometimes you let the guy pass your guard, and then you just roll to your belly to finish the choke. If the guy is, if you're able to go to your belly and keep your arms up here, there's a pretty good chance you're gonna get this choke to finish. It's a hard one to unwind once you've wound it up. Watch out for reverse arm bars. So that's the kicker for this one. If the guys are looking for it, there's a reverse arm bar counter, so be careful. But it's a fun one nonetheless. Makes you thinking about different things. And the last one I'm going to show you, again, a little bit more flash. Back in the day, I used to do more stuff like this, and yeah, well, you'll see. Sorry, bad knee. I don't want to go too hard with it. The spin underneath knee bar. Little hard to go slow, but not terrible. Same as before, hands into the armpits, or fingers in the armpits so you can lift them up. Once I pop Ozzy up, I'm gonna cross my legs. I send them forward and I spin underneath them. And I catch the knee bar. Try to keep your big ear by the toe, or big toe by the ear. Not this way. If you're this way, he can turn away from me, turn away, and he'll start to rotate his leg and start to work out of it. Yeah, maybe there's a toe hold here, but probably not. This way is much easier for me to defend. I'm gonna grab, I only do the knee bar on that one side for this particular move, but I'm gonna knee bar Ozzy's other leg for a second. So if you can just lay it on your side. Just to show a couple things. I've been seeing a lot of people do knee bars, and essentially they're doing this. They're trying to pull back in this motion. So they're trying to arc their back. And it's not terrible, don't get me wrong, but if you're okay here with the knee bar, see where my heels are? I can cross my legs, I can triangle my legs if I want, but both heels in his butt or in his tailbone, knees together. I'm going, instead of pulling backwards, I want to pull my heels back. I want to try and do this motion of pulling backwards. This is fine, just arcing backwards, but a lot of people tend to forget about their legs and your knees get too loose. If you get a guy who's good at knee bars, it actually hurts your quads. They start pinching so much, it's unpleasant. So it should be a tight pinch and then heels into his butt. And that's what's gonna make the knee bar a little bit tighter. Trying to hold on to here, close as you can to the heel. You're seeing things where you compress the heel and then pull, same thing. Or you can hold here, you can go in the armpits. These are all kind of nasty ones to do. So be careful when you're playing with knee bars. Essentially, knee bar is just a stronger version of your elbow, okay? So it's, you know, you want to be messing with the knees. They hurt quite a little bit. So be careful what you're doing to the knee bars. But one more time for the move. Just right there, good. Yeah. Pull them forward, pop them up, cross the legs, spin underneath. Just that easy, right? So see if I can do it without Ozzy so you can see a little better. As I pop him up, I'm gonna support his weight with this leg to cross. So my leg's hooked. I'm gonna throw his weight forward. I want him to crawl and run away. And as he runs, I spin, I untwist myself to land in that knee bar. So it's the motion, if Ozzy's just standing right there, if you can stand for a second, please. A little closer. It's very much like this. That rotation back. All right, so if I kick him up and I put this leg underneath, means I'm spinning this way. So if you're having some trouble with rotation, it's likely that you're crossing your legs up over yourself and spinning the wrong way. Gives you a variety of submissions there. Didn't get too many for you, but enough to see what's going on. There's a lot of other resources out there for submissions, but this is a good starting ground and getting into some kind of funkier ones too for those that like to be a little bit faster, more dynamic.